Think we're live. Good morning, Al Ingalls here. It's a Monday. Time. So last night I was watching the Pistons, who lost massively to the other team, owned by someone who was born in Michigan, which is kind of crazy. I was a Pistons fan back in the 80s, the Isaiah Thomas days. Actually, George Lambier's grandmother, if you ever followed the Pistons, was a donor to the Battle Creek Symphony when I first came on board to work there. So I was a massive fan. Basketball's changed a lot, by the way. I didn't realize now you can take about 5 steps and not be called for traveling. I'm sure George Lambier would have been called had he taken 5 steps to make one of his crazy layups back in the day. And if Isaiah Thomas was like taking the ball sideways and palming it the whole time like this, he would have been called for that. So game has definitely changed. I'm dating myself, but it's kind of crazy to watch. Amazing athletes. Jenkins was definitely, I haven't watched it all. Like this is my first time watching in years, and I instantly have favorite players. Jenkins is my favorite Pistons player right now. Um, but I get to the end of the game, and I had no idea what time it was. I was just watching the game, even to the very bitter end. So I'm always like a Hail Mary, what could happen? And I heard myself start to say, "Oh no, it's past my bedtime." Have you ever said that before? Like, "Oh no, I'm not going to get enough sleep. It's past my bedtime. I'm going to have a rough night sleeping." We'll talk about time and we'll make assumptions about it. That things are not going to go well for us because we don't have enough time. And I've come to learn that that's really quite a fallacy. And the thoughts that we have really make a difference when it comes to that. So I started to say it, like I'm looking at the time and I'm going, oh, I start to say it, right? And in that moment, I made a swim move. So if you're familiar with my work, if you've come on any of my podcasts, or I mean, I speak on other people's podcasts. I don't have my own. This is kind of my podcast here. Um, Swim is a tool where you've got something coming into your head that's not going to be very helpful to you. And so you make this motion, you put your hands together and you say, okay, you can say these phrases if it helps. In the past, I would be worried I wouldn't get enough sleep. I'm now open to the possibility, and you're doing this crazy motion, which is not a normal motion. Okay, so when you do it, your brain actually opens up neural pathways very quickly. So it's like, okay, what's going on? And then you can say, I'm open to the possibility that tonight I'll get a great night's sleep. Boom. So hands together, swim out and change. Swim, by the way, stands for switch internal mindset. You're switching the talk in your head. So much of the talk in our head wastes time. It wastes so much time. Uh, I when I first started using pressure free on myself and reducing complaining, blaming, moaning about stuff, just general not good talk, I gained about an hour and a half to 2 hours in my day. Some of my clients have gained 3 hours of productive time, 4 hours of productive time in their day. Why? Because we take up so much time in our day with thoughts that are not working toward what we want, and and they're really taking us down a path that's not helpful. They create tension. So if you notice a thought comes in your head and you're starting to tense up, tense your face, tense your jaw, tense your shoulders up, tense your belly, even like tense your hands, that's a clue. So any sort of body tension can be a clue that something going on in your mind is not particularly helpful to you. Um, and you can switch it. You can actually switch it up. One of my dear friends, you've heard me talk about her. She's my personal body coach. She's a great business coach, body coach out in Colorado, Leela Veronica. She texted me the other morning and she goes, you need to add a new A, apathy. Okay, so the A's of pressure free are angry and annoyed, anxious and afraid, ashamed and argumentative, Now she wants to add apathy. So I've been giving that some thought. Like when we're in an apathetic state, we're just in a down state. We don't think anything's going to change, anything's going to get better. We have no energy to try and shift it. Like we're just in this state that's so unhelpful. Is that the cause of these stress hormones? Like, I don't know. Or is that state something that will cause us to trigger the stress response? It's interesting to think about because I'd never thought about that particular emotion before. I think I'm going to add it because if you're feeling really stuck, that could be apathy. It could be apathetic. Um, so that's a new one to put in here. And I think it revolves around time. So we think of time in a few different ways. We think of our lifetime, our lifespan, and then we think of our moment to moment time. We think of time in terms of a day and a night. And so all of those can have possible stress triggers if you think about it. Like if you're at a certain stage in your life and you feel like, wow, I can't believe I hear this a lot, by the way. I can't believe I'm here and this is happening to me. Like a relationship that you had for a long time breaks up and it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. This is happening to me. One of my clients is twice divorced and never in a million years did they think that that would be them. So they have they're very consistent, very I would say very structured person and design their life very well. But when things don't go the way we want them to, when things get shuffled around, apathy can come into play then too, now that I think about it. But there can be this real time pressure. Like how much time do I have left and what's going to happen to me? And all those kinds of things can come into play. Am I going to be alone? One of my friends shared that recently. Like I said, I never thought I'd be alone at this age of my life. So we expect the chapters of our life to go a certain way, but what if they don't? What if we don't follow that pattern? And maybe that pattern was the pattern we saw our parents live or our grandparents live. And our life just seems like a crap show. um Again, Leila Veronica, when I first met her, she goes, humans are messy. Humans are messy, life is messy. It doesn't always go in these patterns that we think it can. And so one of the things that can help is being able to think clearly. So when you feel any sort of time pressure, whether it's in your day, about your life, I also think in years. We also think in school years because we were in school for so long. If you went to a regular school pattern, we go to school late August or early September, then you get out May or June. Um, those can be stress points because a lot of us triggered the stress response getting ready to go to school. And then when school was out, we had this summer ahead of us. There was anxiety about getting summer jobs, like what's next. Anytime we had those transition points, those can be stressful times as well. And time can feel like a pressure. If you don't get your degree done in 4 years, that it's like, oh no, another year. A year can feel like an eternity to a college student. So time is a pressure, is a real deal, but it's not like gravity. We are creating the pressure in our heads. Our society is creating the pressure. When I was a girl, there were no clocks in cars. I still remember when my grandfather bought a new Impala to pull his trailer. He made his own camper trailer, by the way. It's pretty cool. And he got this Impala, and it had a clock and with hands inside it. That was the first clock in a car I ever saw. We didn't know what time it was. We just got in the car and we drove to where we were going, and we assumed we had plenty of time to get where we were going. But now we have a digital clock in our cars. And the little lights are actually ticking the seconds. And we have our GPS now. I have some clients who try to beat their GPS. The GPS is pretty accurate if you've ever like scientifically noticed. It's pretty accurate. It's noting a lot of things today. It's pretty wild how accurate it is. Um, So do you always use your GPS? Do you need to? Sometimes with clients who have this issue, like trying to beat their GPS, I'll say, all right, you're going from here to here. You basically know approximately how much time it's going to take. Yeah, there could be slowdowns, there could be changes, but what if, but that's not going to change even with your GPS, unless you could find an alternate route, right? So playing around with not even using the GPS, playing around with not using things that mark time to open things up. I've worked with several clients, quite a few clients actually, with an ADD diagnosis. And sometimes their ADD coach will have them put clocks everywhere and have time be everywhere. And what I've noted is that for some of my clients, that's a stressor. Like seeing the clock, just seeing the clock is a stressor. So it's fun to kind of open up and say, all right, what do we really need and why do we need it? And um, can we have a little more flexibility in our lives? Can we be a little more less affected by our thoughts about time? So swim is your tool today. You can use it for anything, but I think it's very helpful when you start to have phrases in your head like, oh no, I'm not going to get enough sleep. Well, what if you can get a beautiful delta wave sleep tonight? If you go tense, you're going to release those hormones and it will be harder. By the way, I keep hearing people say it's cortisol. Listen, it starts with the catecholamines. If you get adrenalized, you're not going to fall asleep very well. If you're adrenalized in the night, you won't either. The cortisol goes out after, and yes, that is a wake-up drug too. But it's really that adrenaline rush that we have to stop. So, and anytime you hear someone talk about stress and all they mention is cortisol and they don't talk about catecholamines or adrenaline, I would just ignore that advice. It's not science. It's just people picking up cues from the internet and picking up cues from AI. When I ask AI about the stuff that I do and the research that I've put together, I mean, it is almost always wrong. So remember, AI can really only be about the average of anything because it's taking all this information in. It's taking all this information about people talking about cortisol. We've got to talk about the adrenaline rush first. That will prevent the cortisol in abundance from going out at the wrong times in our body. That's the key right there. So swim it today. Have a great day. Start the week noticing if time is pressure for you and see if you can swim that out and change up the thoughts, the way you talk about it. Like one of my clients was from Germany, very, very structured, amazing woman. And she would say, I never have enough time. I don't have enough time. And so we turned to that phrase to, I have, in any given second, I have all the time in the world. In any given moment, I have all the time in the world. And just by thinking that you have more time, your body expands, you open up, you can keep your thoughts clear and you can think so that you can assess things so much better. So with that, I wish you a great pressure-free day. Bye.